All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Bald Bearded Bicyclist, and this is Chicago Intelligentsia Cup. It is a much higher level race than I'm used to doing. I honestly was super nervous coming into this, but excited to learn. I haven't done a lot of really technical crits, and this was a good way to kind of up my cornering skills, just kind of forced to learn how to work in a pack and just understand how to race in this type of level. So it's still Cat 4, but again, just the level of racing at this national level race was much more elevated than the local stuff. I think I kind of hurt myself a little bit by my goal coming into this was just stay safe and have fun. And I feel after the week that I probably could have been a lot more competitive if I really came in just like with the goal of being top 10 in every race, staying, positioning well. I did kind of have that goal. I found a nice place to move up here. You can see on the right. So my start was actually really bad. I was right on the front, and I had forgotten that I had changed the angle of my cleat. So my first two races, I had a lot of trouble clipping in. So you'll see that again on Lombard, which was the second day. But it's too bad because I had a really nice lane, and I would have gotten a fantastic start this day, and it would have completely changed my race if I was up in the front. I got filtered back pretty far, and the first lap I took those turns a little timidly, trying to kind of get an idea of how fast people were going to take it, and but then I started feeling pretty good, and this guy came in from the left and pushed me super wide. It caused a big gap here. I was a little annoyed by that, but honestly I have to get better at holding my space, and I had position. My wheel was in front of his. If he swings wide, he's just going to bump me, and I got to bump back, and I would not have lost position there. I was feeling good. Now we've got this gap, and I'm not really trusting this guy's wheel, so I'm waiting for an opportunity to kind of come around, and then all of a sudden he just flies out of his pedals. I don't know what happened there. It takes me by surprise, and now there's this giant gap that I have to close. Luckily, this guy also realized that this was a very important thing to close, so I was able to get a little draft on him, but we're also going uphill here. My heart rate is already pinned. If I'm over 170, I am hurting. This entire week, my heart rate hardly ever went under 170. I think partially that's due to the temperature. It says 88 there, but the actual road temperature on some of these days was way higher. I know on some people's Garmin's and stuff, they were saying it was reading like 105. Monday was probably the coolest day, maybe Friday because there was a nice breeze. But that was definitely something I haven't really had to deal with often. But this first turn, once I started getting the hang of it, I was loving it. I probably didn't take it quite as fast as I could have there, but I think I ended up taking it like 26 to 28 miles per hour and just kind of railing it. This downhill was pretty fun, and we were getting up to, 28 miles per hour there. There was a fun speedometer there on the side, but it looks like it wasn't actually catching the full speed. And I remember seeing the pros, and I was like, oh, they're only going 26 as well. That was the same speed as us, but I think they were going faster, and that speedometer just wasn't quite working because it showed us going down at 28. So we've already got lots of gaps, and I am ferociously trying to close these. If I'm not coasting through the corners, I feel like this whole race, my power was over threshold. So it was pretty tough. If you haven't seen my races before, this season my FTP has been around 300. Honestly, it's probably a little lower than that because of the amount of racing I've been doing lately. My training hasn't been super structured, so it's probably dropping. And this week and the week before especially just have not been staying on that training. But gaps here, and I am pushing to close it. It was just all out. I mean, we're going 31, 32, and I'm, barely drafting one guy. So now I'm starting to hit this a little better. It was fun because it was just that corner had kind of like a bank to it. So if you really leaned into it, you could just kind of shoot around, and just felt like that corner was like slingshotting you. That turn was interesting because the cobbles would slow you down. Like the ideal line was through the cobbles, but I kind of found out later that you could maybe go a little bit faster by taking it wider and avoiding the cobbles, and then you kind of had to swing wide to take the roundabout. So kind of an interesting course. This was a lot of fun. Again, if I had positioned myself better and had been closer to the front, not gapped by that pedal strike, I think I would have been in really good position this race. So it's kind of a bummer. So much of criterium racing comes down to positioning, staying ahead of the crashes, and the surging that happens in the middle. And basically what happened with me closing these gaps is I ended up pretty much tailgating the front group. But with this giant gap, I'm left. I literally had to close this gap by myself. I think it took me about a lap. We'll see. But I'm going 30 miles per hour just by myself here. And we'll see how I take this turn. Yeah, now that I'm by myself, I'm taking that turn with an exit speed of 28, 29. So for me, I think my biggest challenge in Intelligentsia and in racing in general is just getting comfortable taking my lines and racing my race in the pack. Spoiler alert for the week, I kind of end up tailgating every race. And again, it does go back to my goal to stay safe. I stayed safe. I didn't crash. I nearly crashed a number of times on the second day just because people were absolutely wild. But it did help, it sacrificed the results by not being assertive enough, not putting myself in a position to win. And if you really want top 10, you got to fight for it, and you got to be willing to hold position and keep your elbows sharp. No reason to ride unsafe, but you can't worry as much about what other people are doing, and that was me. I just didn't place myself in a position to win. So I am so close here. I am still pushing 400 watts. Come on, just close it. 30 miles per hour. Let's see how I take this turn this time. Nice, 28 miles per hour. Probably could have gone even a little bit faster on there if I just kept pedaling a little bit longer, especially being this far off the pack. There's no reason why I can't push it right up until I got a turn. So I was kind of able to catch up there, just taking my lines. I was a little timid about pedaling through that roundabout because on the second lap I actually did scrape my pedal a little bit. If you follow my Instagram, you can see I posted a picture of a scrape pedal. So that was the first time I've been pretty close to clipping a pedal. I mean, I did clip it, but it wasn't enough to like buck my back wheel or anything, which was good. But I'm kind of falling off this group. I really need to push it, close that gap. And here's the thing, like if you're struggling to stay on the group, you shouldn't ever catch on to the last guy and be content. What I should have done, I've been fighting hard to get back on this group. I should have just trying to push all the way into the middle of the group, because I'm going to yo-yo a little bit still through those turns, and there they go, and I just give up. You can see my watts drop to 100. I think it's too bad. I mean, watching it back now, it's like, oh man, if I just pushed a little bit harder and gotten in that draft, I would have been fine. But you could see the front's probably pushing it really hard because it is extremely strung out. I'm only taking this at 25 now, so I'm kind of blown up. But I do get a second wind here a little bit, and I think I look back, I see the guys, I'm kind of stuck in between the two, and I think at this point I was like, you know what, I'm going to reassess and race with these guys back here, and try not to completely blow myself up, and get the best position I can get out of this group. So now this is my race back here. I mean, if they can bring us back to the group, then great. I mean, that's better than me just blowing myself up trying to get there. But now I've kind of told myself, like, I'm not gonna let these wheels go. So you can see I'm back over 400, and I see this gap opening. I got to go around this guy. I don't trust anyone at this point. And you can definitely take this little second. It's almost like another roundabout. Those two turns kind of connect. You can take it relatively fast and pedal through it if you're careful. So over 400 watts again. I need to get back on a wheel. Come on. Heart rate is over 170 again. So again, I'm definitely hurting. But these races, the Cat 4s, are only 30 minutes. See, I could have taken that turn faster. Come on. I think I get just a little bit nervous when there's anyone around me and I start not taking the turn the way that I know that I can, and that's just hurts me a lot. But you can see there's big gap opening behind me, so at least I'm keeping a relatively good pace through those turns to not fully lose the guy in front of me, and I'm opening gaps behind me. So, and luckily he's here, and he's working to close the gap in front of him. So, if I had to close that gap myself, I think it would have been a tough one. So I see guys moving up, and I know that this guy is struggling because he was closing that gap. So I'm going to jump on them, see if I can make up some positions. We got people dropping here, so you got to be aware of that. That was the guy that clipped his pedal earlier, so kind of a bummer. And a gap open again. So I think I was thinking too much about avoiding the guy on the right and pedaling through there. So luckily this guy comes around and fills in, and I don't have to stress too much about trying to close that gap. And this is the easiest I've gone probably the entire race on this stretch, because pretty much every other lap I was trying to catch somebody in front of me, so I was going like 300. I should have probably gotten right on that guy's wheel with the orange bike. He made a nice move up, but you could see that kind of took that turn a little sketchy, maybe a little bit too far inside there. Couldn't quite keep my momentum as that guy came from outside in. He took a better line than I did. It's tough when people yell inside. Like, I had the position there. I didn't have to concede anything. Like, I could have taken the line straight across, and just because he says inside doesn't mean that I have to give a line to him. I had position. I had my bars in front of his, and if I close the door, then he's gonna have to hit his brakes. So just because you yell inside or outside, just be aware that people don't have to move. They don't have to give you room. And I need to be better at holding my own line and not conceding position like that. But I think I'm starting to feel pretty good here. My heart rate's gone down, back under 170. I'm in a draft. There's a couple of guys, off our group. That guy took that turn really nicely. I should have followed on his wheel. Again, just need to get more comfortable around other riders and race my race. That downhill was pretty fun. I mean, you're picking up speed and then you fly around this roundabout. This is a really fun course. And if I could just get out of my head and race, I think it would have been a really good course for me. I liked that little uphill, and if I wasn't spending almost 2 laps chasing by myself, and again, I'm already feeling pretty good near the end of this race too. I feel like I could have definitely used this hill to make up positions in the main pack. We got a lot of, I don't know if these are lap riders or people dropping from the front group up here, but I did find that it seemed like a lot of these races, people went so hard trying to stay with the front group that they would end up dropping. And meanwhile, I'm chasing from the back, not even in a draft on a lot of these races, and I'm able to catch back on. So I definitely had the fitness. I just need to get through the mental aspect of it and race my race, be more confident around others. Again, it's a whole different thing than the Cat 4 races locally, and I feel like this is probably the case on a lot of local race scales. Cat 4s give people room. There's always kind of lanes to move up. Nobody gets so close that you are touching for the most part, unless somebody does something wrong. So it's just not as nerve-wracking. I've never had to get in that mind space of where you're really taking a turn just side by side with somebody. So it's something I got to get used to, and I think it was so great to go to Chicago and be a part of that and get my first taste of it, because you're never going to learn until you start doing. Same with just the technical turns, learning how to take a really good line, and these courses were so much fun and oftentimes really flowy if you learn to take them the right way. After the first couple laps on this, things just kind of clicked for me as far as cornering and really weighting the bike and kind of getting off your saddle a little bit. Again, there's somebody came inside and I just did not take the line that I wanted to take there. Really horrible line, but it's just all mental. I know how to take that corner. So there I tried to stay left of the cobbles to see if I would carry more speed. And I don't know if I really did or not. I mean, I didn't lose too much more on the guy in front of me, but yeah, I think a lot of these riders are just kind of falling back. They were getting popped from the front and just weren't going to fight for it anymore. Moto's giving up on our group. So we are on lap 12 here out of 18. So I think probably coming through this lap is when I look at the laps to go counter. and I'm starting to think about, like, what do I need to do to actually win out of this group. You know, we can see some riders in front of us. This guy flicks me through. You know, we're not super organized. I do, like, really want to catch those guys, but at the same time, I don't want to blow myself up. We're going a lot slower than we were. Obviously, you can see 28, 29. But yeah, I mean, when no one's in front of me, I can fly through that turn, 29 miles per hour. And it felt good. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so avoided the cobbles there, 28 miles per hour. I mean, you could see there's a bit of a gap behind me, closing it. I think I don't get on the pedals quite quick enough through the end of that, just because I did have that scraped pedal earlier, so that was a little bit in my head as far as like when I could start pedaling in that roundabout. I want these guys to come around me at this point. We still got a few laps left. I'm not gonna just drag them the whole way, and it was nice to actually take that technical section on the front so I could keep my speed up. I could take the line I wanted, not have to worry about them, and then they can come around and give me some draft. And you know, I'd like to ideally get close to the front again for the coming through the technical section again. So we'll see if I do that. But they're pushing it now, and I'm okay with letting these guys filter in a little bit, stay in the draft. Yeah, you can see those guys just taking the turn now. They're really not too far in front of us. I don't remember if we catch them or not. And so much slower through this turn. And a little gap opens. Ay, ay, ay. It's wild how, I mean, they weren't doing a bad job there, people in front of me, but I need to be able to just take it at my speed and go around. I mean, it was pretty much single file. Like, I could have found a way to get around them during that turn. But whoever's on the front, it's definitely much slower now. Yeah, this kid, I mean, he's done a lot of pulling, so he was probably just tired at that point. But I also know that he's got good technical skills. It wouldn't have been too hard for him to keep it a little faster in that technical section. So we're definitely not, people are not as fresh as they were. I mean, you can see we're just kind of noodling at the top of this hill. And I'm feeling pretty good. My heart rate's back, you know, under 170. So, and so I'm, what do we got here? We're coming through, this is going to be the 15th lap. So got like 3 laps to go. Honestly, I'm feeling like I can beat the guys in this group. This guy's, that was a good move. Took that fast. So that's this kind of stuff I have to learn to do. Just like, he didn't really dive bomb. He found a spot in the line, but came up much faster and was able to take the turn quick. It's not like the crowd or the group was super bunched up and he took a super inside line or anything like that. He was able to get in front before the turn and then take it at speed. So it was a nice move. See, like, I'm getting a little bit better at keeping my momentum. Like, I just shifted to the left there, even though I was kind of going to pass that guy. So rather than grabbing brakes, I was able to move to the left, and then coming out of the turn, I let him come back in front, and I was able to just jump back on his wheel. So a lot of the issue I have, I think, is that I feel like I have to be right behind the rider. So rather than keeping more speed than them and kind of shimming up the side, I grab brakes so I stay behind them, and then I have to surge. So I kind of did it there. So rather than taking the inside line and holding my momentum, kind of hurt me there. But I'm still feeling good, 165 BPM. I mean, that's still high, but for a crit, where again I had like 177 the first 6 minutes of the race. I think I normalized. I forget. It was pretty high for the first 6 minutes. I think it was like 350 or something like that. And again, for me, that's pretty high. So avoided the cobbles there. Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, I actually somehow shot up into the wheel. It was almost like I picked up speed in that turn. But I don't think I got on the pedals quick enough through that little chicane. And I think partly that was that guy that shot out of his pedals. Looking back at the video, I don't think he even clipped a pedal. But in my mind, I was like, oh, he must have clipped a pedal here somehow, like leaning from one side to the other. So I was maybe a little bit, I don't know if I really pedaled until we were fully out of that little chicane, but I'm sure I could have, because we really weren't leaning that much. But that was a nice move. Took the inside there. Yeah, look at that. Made up 2 positions. Got on this guy's wheel. He's dying. And I see these guys off the front. So 700 watts. Got to close this gap. Now my heart rate's back up to mid 170s, but I made it up to them, which is great. They are pretty close to this group in front of us. Oh, I broke there. I could have kept my momentum and gotten inside of this guy. Disappointing. And that's the thing. Like, I just felt, I think in the race I was thinking, oh, I got to get right behind someone's wheel. But I got to just take my own line, and if I'm going faster, then find a way to get around. That was nice there. Made up another 2 positions. I got back on the pedals. I know we've got, I don't know if this is the last lap or 1 to go, but I know I got to do some work here to, again, I don't know if these are lapped riders or dropped from the front group and just, let's see. I'm just kind of trying to weave through them, use them a little bit if I can. Yeah, no, these guys are not dropped riders because they were in that was, so we caught them, which is great. I think they just kind of burned out trying to catch the guys in front of them. But I slow up a little bit. I know we're coming into the last lap here, and I don't have much hope that I can catch the guys in front of them. So I don't want to be on the front for the last lap. So I kind of use these guys, and luckily this guy picks the pace back up a bit. Take a pretty good turn through there. Lost a bit of speed, but it's not too bad. Again, at this point, I'm just trying to worry about the guys that are in the immediate group that I'm in. I avoided those cobbles. And I tried to take the inside here, but he kind of came back over, so that was smart. I didn't have quite the speed to pass him there. I'm also okay. Like, I was like, if other people want to fill in here so that I'm not second wheel, that would be great. So that guy came around and I was okay. But then I see that guy's attacking on the front, and the guy in second is opening up a little bit of a gap. At this point, though, I'm like, I want to do the best I can out of this group, but I was kind of second guessing whether we would actually sprint. Like, I mean, we're not top 10, and I don't want to be a friggin' weirdo, and probably could have taken, that wasn't bad. Oh yeah, it's good speed. So I don't get out of the saddle. I just kind of put on the power, and I just kind of hold steady power. But looking back, like, I really should have given it everything, because we were top 20, and I realized the Intelligentsia standings is top 20. You get points. So 2 of these guys passed me, and I didn't really try to pass that guy in front of me. I got 16th on this day. But looking back, I was like, man, I really should have just given it everything to the line. Because again, this is about learning. Yeah, I mean, statistically, there's I'm not going to get upgrade points, and it doesn't really matter 16th versus 14th or 13th, whatever. But if I want to learn how to win out of that group, and when I have to unleash my sprint, I really should have tried to do that so that I can learn from it. So next time, I think it's smart. As long as it's safe and there's room to sprint, go for it. I mean, who cares if you're sprinting for whatever position? But if it's really a dangerous time to sprint and people are being a little erratic, maybe just roll it in. But if you feel safe, no reason not to practice sprinting when you're in a race. So that was the first day, Mundelein. We did take part in Lombard on Tuesday, and then we skipped Wednesday. I'll explain that in the vlog. The vlog is coming. That's just going to be kind of an overview of the whole time in Chicago. And I'm going to do the race recaps first and separately, so that the vlog wouldn't be a spoiler for how I did in any of the races. But make sure you're subscribed so you can see these as they drop. We've got 2 days of Buffalo, the Plan to Peak race, August 5th and 6th. That's this coming weekend. If you are not racing, you should think about it. And if you are not a racer and you're in the Buffalo area, come out and check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's different vendors there. There's usually a huge turnout, and it's just one of the premier races in the area. We've got a TT, an Eddie Merckx TT in the morning, which is a TT on a road bike. And then we've got a Criterium, just kind of like a big circuit race. There's no real turns, but it's around the Botanical Gardens, really cool views. And then Sunday is a road race. So a lot of fun. Make sure you come check it out and subscribe to catch the other races. We did Thursday, which was Northbrook, and then Friday we finished on Elgin. So ton of fun. And make it out to some of these big races. Sometimes it's, I didn't place as well as I wanted, but it was a big challenge, and really, I think, taught me what I need to work on. So thanks a lot.